All right, we're going to talk about ecological succession. So succession is, if you think of the word succession, it's just kind of the order in which things occur. So, like, there's a succession plan for the Queen or King of England, right? So it's just the order in which things go. And so there's two types of succession. So ecological succession is a predictable changes in the community over time, but it's just ultimately, like if you kind of see here, if you start with bare rock, you wouldn't expect like large animals and trees to grow immediately. You would get things that would be able to grow in the rock, like lichens, and then you would start to get maybe grasses and flowers, and then it slowly would build up over time. But you can see there's an order in which things go because you have to develop soil and that kind of stuff. And so there's two types of succession. One is called primary succession, and that's where this is a succession that starts with no soil, so usually it's just bare rock. And so here, this is the example of primary succession. You usually get what's called lichens, moss, that kind of stuff. That's able to grow on rocks and have very few nutrients, and so there's no need for soil. So examples of primary succession is usually happens after like a volcanic eruption. So the lava flows and then it cools, and then all you have is bare rock, or sometimes you have a glacier melt. So underneath glaciers is land, but you wouldn't expect any soil because there was no life underneath all that ice, and so you might have bare rock. So anytime you have some type of disturbance that creates bare rock or exposes bare rock, you would have primary succession. And the last of the pioneer species, that's just the first species in succession. So here in primary succession, the first species would be lichens. Okay. So in the case that you do get to start with soil, that's called secondary succession. So you get to start with soil. So if you start with soil, you can imagine that goes a lot faster, right? And because you already have soil, there's nutrients in the soil, so you can start, instead of lichens, you can start with grasses and perennials and that kind of stuff. And so you cut off like quite a bit of time before you get to what's called the climax community, which is the final community. So big examples like fire. So after a fire, there's still soil left over, and so you start with soil, and then you kind of build your community from there.